and welcome to Queer Talks Bhutan. I'm your host Namgay Zam. Today in conversation with me is Pema Dorji, who is a very staunch LGBTIQ activist. He belongs to the community himself. I've known him for a very long time, and I'm so happy to be in conversation with you today, Pema, so that people know who you are, your life story, and what is so important to you. Pema, tell us a little bit about your journey.
Before we begin, you use the word activist, so I feel that I'll prefer the word advocate, because what I personally feel is like I feel like I'm an advocate for the LGBTIQ community in our country, so I would rather like to be known as an advocate.
Why not an activist?
Than an activist, because especially in my opinion, I mean, the work that basically I'm doing is like basically advocating on the LGBTI issues of our existence and actually letting people know that what is LGBTI to begin with. So most of our work is it's on creating awareness. So I believe I'm an advocate. Maybe down the line, I mean, when there is a time for talk about our rights, talk about visibility and all that, maybe I'd take up the activism. So
you say that I'm more vocal than you when it comes to rights. always asking. No, tell us, Pema, about your journey then, your personal journey.
I was born during around 1992, so I'm basically, when I grew up, I was maybe in my teens, I was in the early 2000s, so it was a completely different time during that time. I mean, I do realize, I mean, and I've heard so many people talking from our community talking about being bullied in school setting, and I'm also one of them. I mean, like, and I do clearly remember from the moment I stepped into the education institution, I specifically remember that most of the people around me made me feel that maybe I'm not part of their pact. Maybe I'm an outsider or someone that they cannot understand, I mean. Because whenever I used to see my other friends, they were like having time of their life, playing, learning, interacting. I have never seen them, I've never seen most of them getting teased and all that. And here I was, I mean, like, I was even in so much fear and anxiety to even use the washroom, so I couldn't go there. I mean, I specifically remember, I think they used to lock me up and they used to chase me away, especially the boys. I mean, I can't go to the boys' washroom saying that they used to say that it's not your washroom, why don't you go to the girls? And just imagine, I mean, how can I go to the girls' washroom? So the fondest memory, the memory that sticked with me was like, I always try to avoid going to washroom. I used to hold in my pee as much as I could. And during that time, I think we were allowed to go back home during the lunchtime. So I always used to use the restroom at my own home. And I still have that habit. I mean, as of now, I mean, like, I avoid using public washroom.
Because of the trauma, right? From the experience, so it's difficult
maybe because of that.
For you to forget all of that. What's your equation with your family, though?
It's quite very interesting, I mean, to tell you. I mean, it's not that I'm like really open with them saying that I'm like in my full on the full version with whoever I am. I mean, like, what I believe is like I'm technically out with they know that I have been in a relationship with a guy for past 6 years. They acknowledge it, they acknowledge him, but we don't talk very openly about it. But the acknowledgement itself is I think, like, I believe that it's something that we should begin with. I mean, like, we need any groundwork to go with.
This is better than denial, right?
Yeah, outright denial. At least they are acknowledging it. So
right.
So sometimes my mom casually asks about my boyfriend, saying that she technically doesn't say that you're a boyfriend, but she's saying, where's your guy?
Where's your up?
Not even up.
Not even up.
Where is your guy? So basically, like,
I see.
She always makes sure that she asks about him when I'm with her. So, and that is a sense of acknowledgement. Even my dad does it, and of course my sibling. I mean, like, I have been an open book with them from a very long time, so they know about him. So, him being in my life. So yeah, I think like equation is okay. I mean, I'm not. It it could improve,
Right.
but at least something is there to work with.
Right now. I'm happy to hear that, Pema. I want to focus on your journey because it wasn't easy, right? And it really, I mean, it's impacted you. It impacts you even today. You continue. I've known you for several years now, and then to see where you were and then to see where you are now with the confidence that you found, it didn't come easy. You had to really work on yourself, right? I want to talk about your relationship with mental health now, because you've had to deal with anxiety for a very long time, as well as the trauma of all of the bullying and harassment, right?
I would I think like just imagine like when especially I think you spend your majority of your early life in this education setting where you are constantly reminded that you don't fit with us, they call you with different name, they bully you, and in some cases, I mean like even the teachers, I have experience of teachers chiming in and like and making fun of me. I mean, so it does have I think like any after effects on me, so it did have an after effect on my life as well. I mean like I do get severe, and I have severe, not severe, but I do have an anxiety disorder. I mean, and the one that I have is like social anxiety, and people say that it's just mental health. I mean, it's just you being a weak person or coward person, you can get over it. But imagine, I mean, a simple thing that everyone around me takes for granted. Example is like going to town, hanging out with friends, doing their chores, buying stuffs and all that, and other things such as driving. I cannot do that. I mean, the moment I step into public spaces, I go full into my fancy mode, where I actually don't know what I'm thinking, what I'm doing. And a classic example would be like one time I was in the middle of the town, and the next moment when I realized I was right in front of a vehicle, about to get hit by a vehicle. So I do get that kind of anxiety where I completely black out. And I act out of and I don't know what I'm doing that time, because there's like almost 1,000 or maybe like more than 1,000 thoughts as processing inside my head. And imagine when driving, I mean, you need confidence when you drive. I mean,
you have to be alert, right?
And imagine the moment you enter into a vehicle, there's like 1,000 things that comes into your mind that might go wrong. You might end up hitting someone.
That's your anxiety again.
You might end
about
up,
all of these things.
You might end up killing someone. Your vehicle, when you are driving a vehicle, your vehicle might fall in the ditch or something like that. So because
overthinking, right? You overthink a lot.
Yeah, because of that, I really cannot drive. I mean, like, it would be not safe for me and other pedestrians on the road as well if I drive. So these are the things that people take for granted. But because of being constantly bullied, taunted, I think I have to carry this baggage with the rest of my life. I mean, like, it's not going anywhere. It's going to stay with me. I mean, like, and I always say that it has somehow scarred my personality. I mean, somehow I'm not this person that I did used to enjoy socializing, but now I don't. Actually, I don't. I mean, like, I would rather stay away from those spaces where I have to socialize. So yeah.
But then it's helped you deal, right? Like, you feel better and at peace having made these adjustments.
Yeah, I think somehow, I mean, like, not exactly, but somehow, technically, if I speak, it has helped me ignore the problem. I mean, basically, I'm running away from it. I'm not putting myself into uncomfortable situation where it will act as a trigger for me. So on top of that, it has given me a new perspective. I mean, like, it has given me so much time to explore so many things. I mean, I used to things such as, like, you are already aware that I do enjoy making videos. I'm not a professional one, but
But you're very good at it.
I have learned it from YouTube, so it's given me that, and I don't mind being alone now. I mean, and people claim, and there's this quote I always follow. I always believe in that you might be alone, but you're not lonely. So that's where I am right now.
That's good to hear, and I think it's quite a healthy place that you're at. And this is why mental health is so important for you, and you want to work in this area, right? Do you want to talk a little bit about it?
It is very, very, very important. I consider mental health to be a pillar of a person's journey, because I think if you're not mentally well, I mean, you cannot do anything. I mean, I personally experienced, because I had suffered from depression for almost a year. After that, I'm still going through anxiety. I mean, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but I'm going through it. So it becomes a pill. It's very important in someone's life. I mean, but the only thing is, like, it's not given the importance, that the due credit that it's needed. I mean, be it in terms of the national response towards mental health, be it towards our Bhutanese society's attitude towards mental health. It has been very, I mean, like, it is a very misunderstood, I think, misunderstood, where people say that, like, when you try to reach out to them, they say that it's just a phase, it will go away, you're just feeling low because of this and that. When you get anxiety and all that, people label you as being very difficult to get along or be around.
No, people don't understand mental illness well. I think there's a lot of ignorance. I mean, forget mental health of the LGBTIQ community, even mental health of, like, hetero people like myself in general. I mean, it isn't as prioritized, right? I mean, with COVID-19, and thanks to His Majesty's intervention, we have, like, the National Mental Health Response Team, you know, and everybody's talking about mental health. We're talking about mental health of DSUPs, frontliners, doctors, people, right?
Yes.
So there's, like, a lot of light on it, thanks to His Majesty.
Yes.
But we need people to talk about, do you think that we have enough expertise in the country for people to adequately support the LGBTIQ community when it comes to mental health?
I think, like, we have to segregate, because they are having, especially in our community, people go through mental health problem because of the trauma that they've experienced in when they're growing up, or just because of their identity or sexual orientation. I mean, but it's necessarily doesn't mean that the trauma or the trauma they experience is completely different from the trauma the normal people goes through, because at the end of the day, whatever the mental health illness they suffer from is quite same, because as we are talking about anxiety, I've seen most of my friends suffering from social anxiety, and I think I've seen my friends resorting to alcohol to cope up with social anxiety. It might be different and varies from person to person, but at the end of the day, the core is, like, the illness is quite, the illness is, the mental health illness itself is very similar. So, and what I feel is, like, it is, I've seen it getting better. So I myself is a recipient of the services, so I've seen it getting better, but
I see it getting better. Like I was telling you, like, how you used to be even, like, 2 years ago, and who you are today.
But it needs improvement. I mean, like, there's room for improvement as well.
It's a work in progress. Yeah, it's a work in progress.
So, but the only thing is that we as a human being, I think we also need to have tendencies to go out and seek help. If you don't go out and seek help, I don't think nobody will be able to help you at all. I mean, like, you have to have that tendency. And there's this beautiful quote by my favorite character, Blanca, from The Post, where she says to Electra, saying that you can hate yourself for so many things, but needing help is not one. So
yeah, I know. I love that part, and I think it was such for those of you who watched Pose, like, we're both such big fans of Pose, but I think it was so powerful, especially in the circumstances that it was said. I think it was really, especially for Electra, who's such a powerful, dominating woman, right? And for her in that situation of vulnerability, I think that's such an important message, Pema, like, to everybody watching, whether you belong to the community or not. There's nothing wrong with seeking help, right?
Like, if you go out and seek help, that doesn't make you weak. I mean, people have perception that, like, when they go out and they make themselves vulnerable, I think, like, people might take themselves to be weak. You're not weak. I mean, like, you're the most strongest and courageous person who have this, who are courageous enough to go out and say that, like, I'm in need. I need some help. I need someone to talk to. That doesn't make you weak. I mean, in my eyes,
that makes you somebody who takes care of yourself.
Yes,
which is very important, right? And that's what you've done so far, and I applaud you for that, Pema. I'm proud of where you've come.
I've called you several times.
Yeah, no, but it's become less frequent now, because I think that you're being able to cope better, and it makes me happy to know that as a friend and somebody who's known you for so long. I want to talk about you and your partner and the work that you do, because y'all do a lot of work behind the scenes and a lot of people don't realize it, and y'all have been doing it for a number of years. I may have been very loud on my social media, especially with regard to repealing sections 213 and 214, but you guys did a lot of the legwork also behind the scenes. So you were saying you do advocacy, that's why I was saying no, but you also do a bit of activism, because y'all are like there, you know, when the community needs, and even if the community doesn't ask of you, the two of you put yourself in positions where y'all become the voices and the faces of the LGBTIQ community in Bhutan.
Yeah, I think both me and Tashi believes that we are the behind the scene person. I mean, I don't know about Tashi, but I technically don't enjoy attention that much. So,
yeah, I
so
know.
I would rather
only if you don't have a choice, you end up there.
I would rather like see someone capable in front, taking up, be the face of the community, and me behind. I mean, like trying to take that person to that level where like he or she can maximize. I mean, like her ability to bring visibility towards the community. So we are enabler in a good sense.
Right.
So we have done most of, I think, like our work is like, most of our work is like behind the scenes. I mean, like, and yeah, like you mentioned, that was a very important thing. I mean, the repeal of section 213-14 came out of nowhere to begin with. I mean, like, it was not our effort. I mean, we did a small groundwork where we actually went to the current ministers and the person who sits in as a member of parliament. We did some few I think small advocacy session, informally, of course. I mean, and luckily, I mean, like the present government, most of the member has the experience of working with the community in the past under the HIV program. So we're very lucky during that time, because of Lempo Namgay Zam. I think like the section 213-14 came into discussion and received the attention that it needed to. So it was because of him, and it came out of nowhere. But after that, I think like we make sure, along with you, I mean, you were obviously there, so we try to get access to a few of the MPs. We started to create visibility. I mean, like, we actually went to the National Assembly as in community, and of course we didn't say anything, but we made sure that we are present there for the discussion. So yeah, I think like we have done that, and hopefully I think the session is going for in the winter session. So
right.
hopefully it will pass.
I mean, we still know that the National Assembly is for repealing the clauses 213 and 214, and it's the National Council that feels that you need to be a little more specific about what you want removed and what you want kept in. So we're hoping that the discussions are, number one, dignified, number two, informed, and number three, non-discriminatory. Otherwise, I would be writing and making a lot of noise about it again. But that was a wonderful moment, right, Pema? Like when they were waiting to vote in the National Assembly, and yes and no, and he was so scared he had his eyes closed because he wasn't sure how many people were going to vote yes and how many people were going to no.
I actually got goosebumps during that time, because it was like almost like 5 years in making. I mean, for me, I think section 213-14 was something that says that was like, I don't know about other, but I literally feel that session doesn't deserve to be in our penal code, because that violates a certain the rights of a certain group of minority and community. So and it also doesn't reflect who we are as a society, right, Pema? Because we are very progressive. I mean,
we don't criminalize people for their choices, and then there's like a rule like that criminalizes people, right?
No, actually, because of the whole section 213-14, it's bringing a very bad name to the country itself. I mean, like, where we are known as a country of gross national happiness. I mean, like, and the moment you research about LGBT thing in on Google, I think the first thing it comes is that because of section 213-14, homosexuality is illegal in the country.
You know, and even when you go to international forums, you always have to tell them, no, things are not that bad in Bhutan, right? And then they're like, but you have this law, right?
No, actually, I mean, like, Bhutan being a very small country, I mean, like, our context is often mixed with what is happening in India, basically, in Bangladesh or in Nepal. So what we have is like, our country is, I'll say it is very much tolerant,
right?
In terms of like towards the community. I'll not say they're accepting. I mean,
of course, you are a case where people haven't been very tolerant or accepting, right, to have this. But I also want to talk about, although you identify as non-binary, right, and then you're queer, but you are extremely supportive of trans women and the trans community. Why?
I think I do have a very personal reason for that. I mean, when I was in school, I used to be very ashamed of my femininity. I was a very feminine person, feminine boy. I mean, during that time, I used to get teased for that, for being feminine. So I used to get really ashamed of my femininity. So as gradually I started to become comfortable with my feminine side, I mean, and I don't mind to flaunt it on social media sometime, I mean. So I do feel the connection with the trans women community as well, because they also has been a subject to so much stigma and discrimination because of their identity, because of them being feminine. I mean, and especially not trans, but transgender in the sense I'm more close to the trans women community. I mean, what I feel is we have that connection. I mean, where we are often misunderstood. I mean, where people expect us to behave, present ourselves and express ourselves in a certain way. I mean, and we go against that, and that so-called expectation. I mean,
stereotype.
Yeah, stereotyping. So we end up facing lots of stigma and discrimination in terms of name calling and all that. So I do have that connection with them. So I do feel more close to the trans women community, because I could actually relate to them what they are going through. I mean, and what they are still going through.
Right. So what's the way forward then, Pema? What is it that you want to keep doing?
We have so much in plan. We are planning so much, but as of now, I mean, the immediate next way forward would be making something out of the Queer Voices of Bhutan.
You are. I mean, it already is something, Pema.
So we are going to, as in platform, Queer Voices of Bhutan, as in platform, because in order to bring out our issues, in order to bring out all our, I think, in order to create visibility, I mean, the platform's main theme is to create visibility. We have to go out and make ourselves visible. And for that, we need so many platforms. I mean, and we have already started working on our social media platform. So it's going. So we are also planning to create so many other platforms for where the queer people of Bhutan or the LGBT community in Bhutan will have their say, have their voice heard, and hopefully, I mean, it will reach to the right person, right authority, and the right measures will be taken for them as well. So we have so many plans, but I'll not diverge into it right now because it's still at the planning phase. So hopefully, I mean, hopefully, I think the ultimate aim of Queer Voices of Bhutan is to create visibility, and we believe visibility, I think will end, I think especially stigma towards the community, will end stereotyping of the community, will end the misinformation towards the community. So we have to start from scratch, and I think hopefully the Queer Voices of Bhutan will be able to do that.
And I wish you all the best with that, Pema.
And before we end, we have something for you. I mean,
okay.
It's quite it is maybe a surprise. I mean, because before we end this episode, I just want to say that whatever the movement of the LGBT community movement in our country is because of the support from our allies. I mean, if we didn't receive any support from the allies, the movement would not be what it is right now. So because of their support, and we do need allies. I mean, when somebody just asked me this morning that where does the cisgender people fit in all the LGBT community and all that. So cisgender hetero people fit in, but they do fit in our journey, in our movement as an ally. I mean, they are the ones who is propelling this movement forward with their support, with their kindness, and of course with their love towards the community. And she's also one of our strongest and the most visible and the most vocal ally that we ever had. And we do need more Namgay Zams in our country, especially for the community, who will take our voices to the masses. So we do feel that allies are the most important aspect in our journey to achieve the aim of creating visibility and acceptance. So we are very happy to have you here.
No, but it's not because I do it because I'm an ally. I do it because you guys are my friends. You guys are as important as I am to society, and I think that is the main reason why. Like, I don't like it when you guys are hurting, right? I mean, I don't like it when people are hurting, and for me it's non-discriminatory. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, he's an LGBTIQ person, so I must help him. No, you're a human being at the end of the day, and if you're hurt and if you're traumatized by society, it doesn't sit well with me, and I will always speak up. So you know that you have me. As long as you guys are being discriminated against, there are allies like me who will care and who will speak up for you guys.
In small or bigger ways, but still I think that your contribution does matter. So, and with that, I think like we will, on behalf of Queer Voices of Bhutan, we would like to present you.
It's my turn to get a gift.
We'd like to present you with something.
Thank you.
This is a very unique item. I mean,
okay.
So the moment we saw this item, so we wanted you to.
Can I see it? No, can I show it? Can I? Where is that? Oh, let me see. Oh, you have a cup. There's several things, but is this the unique item?
Yeah.
I'm gonna show it. Oh, this is so nice. I have a customized T-shirt from Queer Voices of Bhutan. I'm gonna take a picture in this. Thank you so much, Pema. Thank you for having me host this and be a part of Queer Voices of Bhutan. It's so special to me. Thank you so much.
Also, thank you so much for being part of Queer Talks Bhutan.